stop where you are, not out of fear, out of recognition. This is the third time heaven has called your name. Once in a whisper you felt but could not explain, a strange restlessness in your chest in the middle of an ordinary day, the kind that does not come from stress or worry but from somewhere deeper, somewhere that knows things before the mind catches up. You noticed it and let it pass. Twice in a warning that arrived in the form of signs you almost dismissed, numbers repeating. A dream that stayed with you longer than dreams usually stay, a moment of sudden clarity that disappeared before you could write it down. You noticed it and let it pass. And now, the third time, in divine numerology, 3 is not a coincidence. It is completion. It is the number that means this is no longer a nudge. This is a declaration. Heaven is not softening the message or giving you time to ease into it. Heaven is saying plainly and with full authority, this is the moment. And Archangel Michael, the Prince of the heavenly armies, has been sent not because things are desperate, but because things are decided. The sword is already drawn. The call has already gone out. The only question left is whether you will answer it. You felt something shift in the air before you found this message. A sense that something was about to change, or that something had already changed, and you had not yet caught up to it. That feeling was accurate. That feeling was the third call arriving before the words did. This is the third time heaven has called your name. Do not let it pass. I need to say something before we go any further. I know what this season has felt like from the inside. Not in a general way, in the specific way of a person who has been watching you carry something that most of the people around you cannot see. The fog that settled over your thinking at a time when you needed clarity most. The emotional weight that arrived without a clear source, and stayed without a clear reason. The nights when sleep was strange, and the mornings when peace felt like something that belonged to other people. The sense that interference was coming from multiple directions at once, and that your energy was being spent before it could be used. You thought something was wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What you have been experiencing is the specific feeling of a spiritual war that is being fought on your behalf, not against you. The resistance you have been feeling is not evidence that you are failing. It is evidence that you are close. Darkness does not waste its energy on people who are not a threat. The pressure you have felt is not punishment. It is recognition from the enemy of exactly how much is inside you, and exactly how close you are to stepping fully into it. The mood swings that had no explanation, the relationships that cooled without obvious cause, the plans that stalled at the moment they were supposed to move, the feeling that something was being blocked, delayed, held just out of reach. These were not coincidences. They were interference, targeted, deliberate, specific to the season you are in, because the season you are in is specific. What is coming for you is specific, and the opposition to it has been specific. But here is what the opposition did not account for. Heaven was watching all of it. Every moment of confusion that made you question yourself, heaven saw it and recorded it. Every time you chose silence when you wanted to lash out, heaven saw it and recorded it as righteousness. Every night you got through that you were not sure you would get through, heaven saw it and recorded it as strength. You have not been abandoned in this season. You have been hidden in it. And Archangel Michael has been at the perimeter of everything that concerns you, standing between you and what was sent to dismantle you, not because you asked him to, but because his assignment over your life did not change just because the warfare intensified. He has been there. He is here now, and he has something to say. Hear this. You are covered. You are watched. You are defended in places you cannot see. Heaven is not a passive observer of your life. It is an active participant. Every lie that has been spoken over your name has been intercepted. Every trap that was laid in your path has been seen before you arrived at it. Every ambush designed to catch you off guard has had a guardian standing in front of it before you ever got close. You did not know how many dangers you walked away from. You thought it was luck. It was not luck. It was assignment. It was Archangel Michael with his sword already drawn before the threat had finished forming. God says, "No weapon formed against you has accomplished what it set out to accomplish." God says the ones who moved against you in secret have been heard by heaven. God says, the energy sent at you in envy and malice has not landed where they aimed it. God says, you are more covered than you have been allowed to feel. Receive that. Let it settle into the specific place where the fear lives. Not the surface fear, the deep one. The one that has been asking quietly and persistently whether you are actually being looked after or whether you are on your own in this. The one that watches doors close and wonders if they will open again. The one that has been carrying the accumulated weight of a season that was hard in ways that were difficult to explain to anyone who was not inside it. You are not on your own. You have never been on your own. The darkness that tried to cover your name was never stronger than the light that heaven placed on your life before you arrived. And the people who moved against you in the dark were operating with incomplete information. They could see what you were, but not what was assigned to you. They could see your vulnerabilities, but not your covering. They thought they were fighting a person. They were fighting what was on the person. They lost before they started. God says you are protected. God says you are covered. God says no darkness will outlast the light over your life. God says you are not alone in this, not for 1 hour, not for one breath. Now Archangel Michael says something that requires your full attention. Your silence is not weakness. It is your weapon in the next season, and it is already beginning the pressure to react, to explain, to defend yourself, to answer what is being said about you in rooms you are not in, is going to intensify. The enemy knows his time is limited. He knows that what heaven has prepared for you cannot be stopped, only delayed. And the one delay he can still reach for is distraction. The one tool he has left is your own response. Do not give it to him. This is the third call. This is the season of holy stillness. Not the stillness of someone who has given up, not the stillness of someone who has decided the fight is not worth it. The stillness of someone who has decided to let heaven fight in the places where human hands were never meant to reach. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone watching. Heaven is your witness. You do not have to correct every false story. Truth has its own timeline. You do not have to answer every voice that calls your name from a low place. Not every call deserves your energy. Let them wonder why you are not responding. Let them be confused by your peace. Let them try to understand how the pressure they sent did not produce the reaction they needed. Your stillness is confusing the enemy's plans. Your peace is a weapon he did not prepare for. Your continued alignment with heaven, while the storm goes on around you, is doing more damage to what was sent against you than any argument, any confrontation, any public defense could do. Declare it now. I will not be shaken. Declare it now. I receive the peace that passes understanding. Declare it now. My silence is not surrender. It is strength. Declare it now. I let heaven fight where my hands were never meant to go. This is the posture of someone who knows the third call has already been answered in the spirit, and who is simply waiting for the physical world to catch up. Hold it, not for a day, for the season. Every time you choose peace over chaos in this window, you extend the reach of your covering. Every time you hold your tongue when the reaction is right there and ready, heaven records it as an act of faith. Every time you continue moving forward without the validation of the people who chose not to give it, you are stepping further into the territory that was always prepared for you. The pause is not the problem. The pause is the preparation. Be still. And now hear the part that the enemy hoped you would never reach. You are not going through this season because you are failing. You are going through this season because you are being prepared for what comes next. And what comes next requires a version of you that the previous seasons could not have produced. The battles that felt like they were meant to end, you were not. They were forging something. The betrayals that felt like they were proof of your insignificance were not. They were clearing something. The delays that felt like punishment were not. They were protection, shielding the promise from arriving before the person was ready to carry it. Heaven does not send Archangel Michael to watch over the ordinary. He is assigned to the chosen, the anointed, the ones who carry something in their bloodline that darkness recognized before they did. The fact that the war has been as intense as it has been is not evidence of your weakness. It is evidence of what you carry. They tried to fit you into the shape of who you used to be. Heaven broke the mold. They gave you a label built from a moment. God wrote your whole story. They thought they were burying you. They forgot that seeds grow in the dark. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late, and you are not too broken. You are right on time with God, which is the only timeline that determines anything. The shaking you went through was not the end of the structure. It was the foundation being set more deeply than it could have been set in comfort. The pruning was not abandonment. It was preparation. The silence of certain seasons was not heaven's absence. It was heaven's strategy. And now the season is changing. Archangel Michael does not stand guard over people who are finished. He stands guard over people who are being positioned. The sword is drawn not to wound, but to clear the way. The path forward is being opened. What was held back is beginning to move. What was locked is being unlocked, not because you earned it in the conventional sense, but because the season of preparation is complete and the season of manifestation has arrived. Watch for it, not in the loud places, in the quiet ones, in the unexpected conversation. The door that opens before you reach it, the confirmation that arrives from someone who should not have known, the sudden warmth in a situation that was cold for a long time. These are not coincidences. These are the marks of a season that has turned. You are stepping into it now, not as the person you were when the storm began, as the person the storm produced. And that person, the one who went through everything you went through and came out still standing, still aligned, still believing, that person is exactly who the next chapter requires. This is your coronation, not despite the war, because of what you were in it. Now I want to talk practically about what this means for the next season of your life, because Archangel Michael does not only come to protect, he comes to position, and positioning requires direction, not just comfort. The first thing, stop going back to Egypt. There are doors that have closed in this season, relationships that cooled, connections that faded, chapters that ended without the closure you felt you needed. Some of those closings were painful. Some of them still are, but not every door that closes on you closes against you. Some of them close to protect you from what was on the other side of staying. The people who could not stay with you through your transition were not equipped for where you are going. That is not a judgment of them. It is an observation about alignment. Your next season requires people who can see what is on you, not just what is around you. People whose presence elevates rather than drains. People who are assigned to walk with you in what comes next, not preserved from a chapter that is already finished. When someone who once had access to you comes back now, and some of them will, because the anointing on your life is visible in ways it was not before, be discerning about what you open. Not every returning person returns with the right spirit. Some come back because they sense that something shifted, and they want proximity to it. Let wisdom govern your hospitality. The table was set by heaven. Not every face that knew you before the transition belongs at the table of what comes after it. The second thing, stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided who you are. This is the season of moving, not the season of convincing. Your assignment in this window is not to persuade the people who chose to believe the worst version of your story. It is to continue building the next chapter so clearly and so completely that the story answers for itself over time. You are not going to win the argument. Not because the truth is not on your side it is, but because arguments do not win the war that is actually being fought here. Archangel Michael does not need your help defending your name in the rooms where people are speaking against it. He is already in those rooms. What he needs from you is your continued alignment, your continued movement forward, your continued presence in the spaces where you are called to be. Let your life become the response. Let the fruit answer what the critics said about the tree. Let the chapter that is opening speak louder than anything that was said in the chapter that is closing. Your voice has power. Do not waste it on the wrong conversations. The third thing, receive what is coming without performing unworthiness. This is the subtler danger in this season. There is a part of a person who has gone through a prolonged hard season that learns to be suspicious of good things, that waits for the other shoe, that hedges against hope because hope has been disappointed before, and the disappointment was too costly. That part of you is understandable. It was built for survival, but it was not built for the season you are entering. What heaven has prepared for this window is not a trap. It is not bait. It is not a setup for a disappointment that will be worse than the ones before. It is what was always meant to come after the season of preparation, and it is arriving now because the preparation is complete. When the door opens, walk through it. When the favor arrives, receive it without apologizing for it. When the confirmation comes, let it be confirmation. Do not immediately begin looking for the catch. You have been faithful in the hidden season. What is coming is not luck. It is the fruit of faithfulness that was planted in places where no one could see it, in the moments when holding on had no visible reward, in the consistency that you maintained when maintaining it felt pointless. That faithfulness has a return. It is arriving now. Receive it fully, with both hands open, with a spirit that says, "Heaven said this was mine, and I receive what heaven has already spoken." This is the third call. The answer has already been given in the spirit. The physical world is simply catching up before Archangel Michael steps back from this moment. One final word. They tried to bury you. They forgot you are a seed. You grew in the dark. You stretched in the silence. You cracked open in the pressure of a season that was designed to stop you, and instead revealed what was inside you all along. The people who whispered against you in corners thought they were covering something up. They were uncovering it. Every lie they told about you that fell apart on its own was heaven pulling the curtain back. Every closed door that turned out to be protection was heaven clearing the field. And now you stand here not the same as you were when the storm began. Stronger, clearer, more rooted than you could have been without everything that tried to uproot you. This is not hype. This is your testimony, told before it is fully completed so that you have the words for it when it is. The third call has been made. Heaven is not waiting for perfect conditions. It is waiting for willing people. It is waiting for the yes that aligns your voice with what has already been spoken over your life in the places you cannot see. Give it that yes now. Not loudly, not performatively, from the place where you actually live. In the quiet interior where the real decisions are made, say to heaven, plainly and completely, I am ready. I receive. I will not turn back from what you have prepared. If that is your answer, type it in the comments. I am the revelation, not as a formula. As an agreement with what heaven has already declared about who you are. Let those words go into the atmosphere and let them be heard by the spiritual forces that have been waiting for you to say them. You are not behind schedule. You are not early. You are exactly on time with God. And Archangel Michael goes with you into every room, every conversation, every door, every next step of what has already been written. Go now, not in hesitation, in fire. If these words confirm something your spirit already knew, subscribe to this channel. More is coming, and when it does, I want you to be there to receive it.